systems that's going to help you in your business and also with your downline and helping them with their business. But we want to make sure before we start this that you guys understand we're not trying to overwhelm you. Just kind of think of it as a brainstorming session, okay? You can take some notes along the way, but we're not expecting you to incorporate every single system that you're going to hear, okay? So just think of it as brainstorming session. But I'm really excited to have on our panel this week, we have some rock stars. So today we're going to be talking with Karen Fettis, with Shelly Sharp, Sonia Pritchett Arneson, Tracy DeMario, and Katie Jensen. And so thank you, ladies, for being willing to share your systems with us. I'm really excited to talk with each of you. So we're just going to jump right in. The first topic that I wanted to go to was organization. That's just kind of a foundational principle of our business, the type of business that we're in. And when you're a business owner, it's really important to stay organized. So the first person that I want to chat with is Karen. Karen, if it doesn't look like you're muted, so that's cool. I want you to share with us some of the systems that you use to stay organized.
So sure. Hey, I'm Karen Fettis. I want to share with you a couple things that have been struggles in my business that I have been working hard to get a little better at. And part of that is actually office organization, so to speak. Taxes is something that I would get really far behind on. And so I adopted two very simple systems for taxes that have been really helpful for me. One thing I use to track my mileage, because that was one thing that never got done or didn't get done consistently. So I use an app called Mile IQ to track my my mileage. It's Mile and then IQ. I do use, it's very inexpensive. There may be a free option, I'm not sure, but I do use that. It allows me to track my personal miles, my business miles, and set up recurrent trips that I make on a regular basis, like to Target or Staples or somewhere like that. I also use QuickBooks, and I use QuickBooks, the QuickBooks app for self-employed. And one thing that it allows me to consistently do that I struggled with was making sure those receipts got recorded timely. I don't have a personal bookkeeper that does that for me. And so I need to make sure that I keep on track of that. Otherwise, at the end of the year, tax time is a disaster. And so the QuickBooks app allows me to actually take a picture of those receipts, and it links them up into my QuickBooks account. And I can identify how, was that an office supply? What kind of transaction was that? Was that an office supply? Was it something else? And I can separate business from personal.
You are going to fail this quarter.
So that is something that I use, and I apologize, you guys. I'm trying to mute simultaneously. So that is something that I use. A couple other things that I use really quick is we do everything in bulk in our office, and we do it once a month, and we do that to make things easier. So anything that I need to make, I am doing once a month there we go. Sorry, you guys. Okay. I do once a month, and I do it in bulk, such as customer samples, put together customer thank you packets, new consultant welcomes, but any kind that requires a system, we try to do once a month. Promotions, we use a set of our promotions. We have in fact, we just went through yesterday and redid it. This is what is going in the mail to someone when they promote, and we make those up in bulk as well, so that when promotions come, especially when we have a bunch of them going like we do right now, it's very simple to take care of those and have them ready to go. So those are just a few things that we do. We also have paper lists for things like supplies, reinstatements, gifts, incentives, new consultants, and demo product. Because if I don't have a list where I can write that kind of thing down on paper, then I struggle to keep track of it. So those are a few things that we do.
That's amazing. I know that some of us are just naturally organized, right? There's like a spectrum. And most of us fall in the middle of that organizational spectrums. You know, we're kind of good at it, but systems can make such a huge difference in that. I want to bring on Shelly, if you would unmute yourself and say hi and maybe share with us some of your organizational systems and strategies.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm Shelly Sharp, and I am a pen and paper girl, but this is going to date me, but I graduated from college without a computer. I typed papers on a word processor and passed accounting with an A, and we did everything in a green book with pencil. So I like everything written. My tax file is not an app. It's something like this. It's an accordion file, and inside are the tabs and where I stick my paper receipts. And then at the end of the year, I go to each folder inside here, take them out and tally them by these categories: business supplies, marketing, events, postage, travel, gifts, fees, and business expenses. Those are easy categories for me to keep track of, and all I have to do is empty my wallet on a weekly basis and file it behind each tab by category. Another thing I do by pen and paper is keep track of my sales. I keep 2 logs. I keep a sales log. Notice my Post-it notes and lots of paper coming out of that. And I keep a sale a day log. And this is just $2 invested in a blue ink pen. And on a daily basis, I like to focus on at least 1 sale a day. If you average and you teach your consultants to average 1 6-pack a day, $30 a day over the course of a month equals 1,000 PRV. That's $250 US in sales just by tracking my 6-packs. And what's cool about keeping track of this is I went back to April today. That's a 3-month running. I sold something, I don't know if you guys can see this, I sold something most days in April. So if I go back to everybody today that purchased in April, it's been 3 months and it's time for them to get more wax from me. So not only do I keep track of my personal sales and focus on that, I like to track my team and my group sales. And for the purposes of this, I'll just show you. Here's a blank planner. It has nice lines on it, so I can use my pen and write down what's important to me. So use your bar report. And at the beginning of the year, I use my bar report. So if you're starting this and setting it up for the second half of the year, you'll start with June through December. You'll look at your bar report on what you sold last year. You're going to be looking at your TWV and your PRV. And if you have more than one director under you, you'll want to track their personal or their team sales and your GWV. So you'll start the month. At the beginning of the month, you'll write that information down for last year. So on June 1st, I'm looking to beat June 2019. Now, I have kept this log for 5 years running. So what I do every Monday is I look at what I did last year on this exact date. So on Mondays and Fridays, you are going to record in your log your PRV, your TWV, your active frontline, your number of your team. As a new director, this information is so important to you because you want to look back year over year and see your growth. As a superstar director, I track 3 generations of directors and any other pertinent information that affects my paycheck. And if you are a director and you're looking to be a star director, you should start looking at trends in your team for their TWV. Some things that you'll keep track of in your sales log is June 18th, the child. Last year, I was able to look at what was going on this exact week, and we were doing Bring Back My Bar bundles and the Toy Story Buddies released. So I know realistically looking at June 17th of last year compared to June 15th this year, where my team, my group, and my personal sales are day to day, year after year. So I strongly encourage you to start a sales log. Thanks, Eileen.
That's awesome. Thank you. I know Steve and I started tracking our numbers in May of 2007. And I wish we would have started from October of 2004 when I first started, because it's amazing to look back as a leader and see and be able to look back and like forecast. You want to be able to forecast in your business. And so it's so important to keep track of those sales. I want to bring Katie on. If you wouldn't mind unmuting, Katie, and maybe share with us how you have been keeping track of your sales. I know we do it actually on an Excel spreadsheet. Shelly's got her amazing calendars that loves to write it down on a calendar. So Katie, how do you keep track of your sales, and how does that impact your business?
Thanks, Eileen. And I have already learned something from Karen and Shelly today, so that I want to try. So I'm just going to share a super simple thing that I do. And all it is, so this is the first thing I actually do in the morning, even before I do anything else. Wake up, I turn my phone on, I take a screenshot of my numbers every morning. And then I log them on a daily numbers log. And there's lots of different logs that you can find that are out there. But that's what I do and I've done for a long time. And it's fun to, like Shelly was talking about, it's fun to compare your numbers day to day, month to month, year to year, just over, like numbers can motivate people. Numbers won't motivate me, and it tells me where I need to focus on. And then also your team as well, what your team's focus should be. So just a super simple thing that I do in my business to keep track of my numbers. And things on here are just like PRV, TWV, GWV, active frontline, your team number, how many you have, your group number, and any new recruits.
That's awesome. I know it's so powerful to look back and be able to see that history and then be able to forecast your business. I'm going to bring on Sonia now, if you would unmute and maybe share some of your strategies on the same topic on this tracking.
So this is a little trick that I brought into my business from my days in the dental world. It's kind of along the same lines as what Shelly was saying, but one of the things that I preach to my directors and my up-and-coming directors is that it's so important to track your numbers every day. There's not a business out there that's not tracking their numbers every day. And you are not in competition with anybody else besides yourself. So it's so important for you to be able to see what you did that day last year. But what I train them to do is to get one of these little pens that has the different colors, and you're going to record your last year's numbers up at the top. And then this is the tracking log that I just got out of the Cincy workstation, but I'm happy to upload this into the Summer Sizzle group. But what you're going to do is you're tracking every day, because I try to make it my habit every day to log into the workstation, track my numbers, check the news, and check for any awards, promotions, things like that. But you're going to write last year's numbers up at the top, so 2019. And then as you're tracking your numbers every day, your numbers are in red. They're recorded in red ink until you match or surpass your numbers from 2019. So when that happens, your ink turns green. So the goal is to be in green, all the numbers to be in green by the end of the month. And if you have a number that's in red, then that lets me know that's where I need to be spending more time and energy on. So that's a little trick that I implement. And I'll tell you, it comes in handy too. And the same thing as Shelly, I record down at the bottom of the paper. Anything like I'm looking at September 2019, I've got Jack Skellington, Darth Vader launch. I also record down at the bottom who my hosts were for that month, so that I'm like, oh, she hosted this time last year, I'm going to reach back out to her. Anything like that. I'll make little notes at the bottom. Anything that was reflected in my numbers. But I'll tell you, the other thing is, like, I just remember one thing I think about coaching a girl that hit director, then fell back, and she was just having a hard time to get to director consistency. But she was using my system, and she said, I'm not back to director yet, but look at my numbers and look at all the green of this month compared to last year. So she wasn't so down on herself because she wasn't at consistent director yet because she could see all the green on her paper that month over the last year. So
I love that because I'm such a visual person. I could see how that visual every day of going from red to green would just be something really awesome in your business. So, and I know that some people have been commenting on what a great idea that is. So saying thank you, Sonia. We're gonna switch gears to our next topic that we have some leaders that want to share their systems on, and that's communication. So we know that communication can be an absolute game changer in our business, right? We need to get really good at being able to communicate and getting it right. So having a system in place to communicate with new consultants and reinstatements is really, really important. So I want to bring on Tracy, if you would unmute, and if you join me. And I know you have some incredible systems that you want to share with us.
I don't know about incredible, but I will tell you that at least it helps you. Again, it kind of goes with the whole organization piece as well. But I know for me, like many of you, we have other responsibilities besides just running our Scentsy dynasties. And so one of the things that I found to be really helpful is kind of like Karen said, how she does her packets in bulk. And I think the sooner you guys can start that, it's not so much about what you're putting in them. Again, you're going to tweak that, change it, the content, as you see fit and kind of fits just your style. But at the same time, it's having them put together. So what we do every single month is I make sure that I have a big stack of, for example, like new consultant packets that I mail out. So as soon as someone on my team joins my team, while they're waiting for their kit, I want them to at least get something from me so that they're excited and they kind of have a checklist. And I know they get emails from Scentsy, but I want to make it more personal since I am their upline superstar director. So I have those. And then, of course, I always have reinstatement packets because the thing is with reinstatements, depending on how long they've been out, odds are they need to be restarted similar to what a new consultant would be. So I have a checklist just for reinstatements that is in their packets. And then, of course, I also recommend having your host packets, fundraising packets, and possibility or join packets, whatever you might call them. That way you already have it done. And when you see you're getting down to like 3, 4, or 5, guess what? Then it's time to get those stacks back up because the goal is that you're going through them. But there's nothing worse than being at a home party or being at an event or getting a call from someone who's interested in a fundraiser and you're like, oh man, now I got to go find my files, print off my forms. What do I want to include? That's just sucking your time and your energy. Whereas if you get those systems in place now and you have your packets all ready to go, you can grab, go, and you'll feel so much more accomplished and be much more eager to get them out because you have it all done. So that's one of the things that I have found to be very helpful for me is just making sure I always have my packets all ready to go.
Well, that is incredible. Don't shortchange yourself. I think that's an amazing system and it's simple and it would be easy for a leader to adopt. And so I appreciate you coming on and sharing that. Katie, I'm going to go to you next. I know you have a system for communicating with your frontline. So if you want to share that with us.
You bet. So I don't know, some people always are like, I don't have a frontline, I don't have anybody on my team yet, but I think it's a good idea to have this in mind so when you do, you're ready to go. But what I do is it's a Frontline Focus binder, and this is what I do just for my frontline. And it's super simple. All that's in there is a numbers sheet, and I've adapted this from others that I've seen, but it's just a number sheet where I can keep track of my frontline's numbers. So the first of every month, like towards the beginning of every month, I go through and on my frontline, I write down their numbers from the last month. So I can kind of see maybe a focus that they need to work on in their business, and it's something that I can communicate with them about. So behind their sheet, I have just a piece of paper for me to jot down notes, write anything down that we talk about, and we can build on that communication each time that I talk with them. So that is my Frontline Focus, just helps to be on top of where my Frontline's business is and where they're going and goals they have. Something else that I started last year, and it's been really awesome, is I kind of got away from communicating with my directors a lot and with my team. And so I needed some way to do that. So I came up with, it's called the Tuesday 2. And so every Tuesday I make sure that I reach out to 2 of my directors, that I'm connecting with them and seeing what they need, making sure they're aware of certain things. And then I just have a little sheet that I keep track of my Tuesday 2 and which 2 each week I'm talking to. And then I thought, well, if I'm connecting with 2 of my directors each week, I want to connect with my team members too. So then I came up with the fabulous, my Friday Fab 5. So each Friday I connect with 5 of it can be Frontline, and then it can be also anyone else on my team, just my team, not my directors and their teams, just my team. So I'm connecting with 5 of them and doing the same thing, just reaching out to them and connecting with them. And I don't hear back from a lot of them, but it tells me the ones that do reach back to me, those are the ones who are wanting to work their business and who are willing to work. And then I can better understand their business and work with them and help them grow.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's like super powerful. I mean, communication is such a key in our business. And like you said, when you're reaching out and then they reach back and you know, want to communicate with you, that spotlights those that are really wanting to build their business. And isn't that what we as leaders want? We want to be able to highlight those that want to build their business. So that's awesome.
Sometimes you don't hear from people 4, 5 times, but then like bam, that 6th time you message them, they'll get back to you and they're ready. So sometimes they're not ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Karen, I wanted to bring you on and have you maybe speak to this topic of communication a little bit as well.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say that these amazing resources that people are sharing, we are going to put in the sizzle page. So second, from my resources, I didn't create many of them. We have so many amazing leaders who have shared ideas over time. So they all deserve the credit for most of what I do because I've taken them and assimilated them into a way that works for me. But so I have a couple sheets. I don't know if you guys can be able to see this. I have a monthly mentoring sheet that is front and back that I use. And I also have a conversation tracker sheet. So I can carry ongoing conversations. The monthly mentoring I use with my Frontline. And I too have, just like Katie, a very similar Frontline binder. Hers is cuter than mine, but that I track numbers of my Frontline so that I can view trends and that kind of thing. Because, you know, sometimes you might have someone who isn't super active in their business, but you might miss something little, like 2 months in a row they had 200 PRV, and that's unusual for them. So you want to be able to give them a shout out for that if there's someone who usually goes 1 out of every 4 months, and wow, 2 or 3 months in a row they were consistent. We were talking about reinstatements, I do track reinstatement emails. I have a folder for them, and I actually keep a hard written list because that's something as your group grows larger, you're copied on those things, but they're not super easy to find if you're trying to find a list of reinstatements. You can find it for team, but if you have people who are DQ who have rolled up into you or whatever, it's kind of hard to find them sometimes. So I actually keep a manual list. One other thing that I've been doing recently for that connection, I know there are many leaders who successfully do various Zoom calls with their leaders and their teams. And we started doing a Monday night hangout with our leaders. It is not a training. It is actually, it's open to star consultant above. So it's not just my directors and above, it's star consultants and above. And we hang out and work our business for an hour on Zoom. And we ask questions and share ideas. And it's really turned in a great place to create a culture. We're also doing a similar work at Wednesday with our team and our group. And it is, again, not an official training. I'm not showing up with a bunch of content, but it is community building and a way to get different ideas. And I can't take credit for either of those either. I took them from other leaders who were doing them successfully.
That's awesome. So I know you mentioned recognition in your comments, and that's actually where I wanted to go next. So if you would just hang with me. We all know as leaders that recognition is a huge part of what we do, right? We want to be able to spotlight and keep those who are working their businesses engaged and excited about their personal businesses, because that's what we want to do as for leaders, because that's how it helps us, right, to build strong businesses. So what type of recognition or what type of systems do you have for that?
So everyone's a little different, and I want to make sure everyone understands that recognition doesn't have to be expensive. And everyone also has a different love language. Gifts aren't necessarily everyone's love language, so don't think that that has to be. The only other thing I would say in advance is that if you know your frontline or you know your team members, some of them actually may not want public recognition. So it's kind of important to know some people don't love that either. We have a system set up for every shooting star, sensational start, and every rank of promotion, and we do send something. It is something very inexpensive that we send, and it's something business building. Like, for example, right now, if you promote to certified consultant, you're getting a little confetti from us, you're getting a congratulations, and you're getting 10 postcards that are laundry and enough laundry samples, laundry stickers to put on them. Just something to get you going, working your business that you might not have purchased from the store or might not have invested in otherwise, but might be a help to you. So we set those up in bulk. We have bins for each category, and then they are literally ready to go. As far as we do postcards, we do TWV, top 25 team wholesale volume for our downline, and we do top 50 PRV for our group, but we do top 10 for our team. Postcards, and then some Facebook or email recognition as well. But very simple, duplicatable things that are not expensive, because it's not the money that you spend that matters. It's the fact that you thought about them that's important.
That's so true. I find that there's such a range of recognition that we can give, and it doesn't always have to be something that you mail out. I know we do $25 gift certificates to our downline that are like top sales or top sponsor. People love shout outs. One of the things that I think that has been powerful is like a shout out on their personal Facebook feed, like their personal page. Do a little shout out to them there. That's been really powerful for me. I wanted to bring Sonia in for a little ideas of what you have done for simple systems you've done for recognition.
Okay, kind of along the same lines as Karen is I buy in bulk. And as a matter of fact, my dining room table right now is just covered in stuff. I'm ready to go in there and bulk and organize that. And then they just go, they're made up and they're ready to go in bins for each award or each promotion. That way you can just pluck them out and mail them. I try to keep it simple, duplicatable, because remember, we're also teaching our up-and-coming leaders, and we have to teach them do what your business can afford. So we don't want to set an example for them that we're spending our whole paycheck on reward and recognition. So keep it simple, duplicatable. Some of the places that I find fun gifts besides Cincy Family Store is TJ Maxx always in their stationery section. Also their clearance. Like the other day I picked up some adorable flamingo bags for $5 a piece, and that I can use did Aspen create that super cute graphic that you're flocking amazing? So I'm like, oh, those are going to top PRV. So TJ Maxx, also Tuesday morning, if you have a Tuesday morning close to you, they have lots of stuff. So there's the $5 cookie cards, the $5 popcorns, so just simple, inexpensive, duplicatable stuff. And then, yeah, just do in bulk and have ready. My cards I have all right here, so I can just go through and pluck out a card to mail with it. Sometimes I will even have them made up and have the card already in the packet, so it's just ready to fill out and mail. Like this is my Essential to Certified, so it's like you're on a roll, you nailed it. Super simple. So that they're ready to go. One other thing I want to say is if you have not started to do shipping at home yet, believe me, this will be a game changer for you. Figure out what, I don't know if PayPal is better than Pirate Ship or which one. I use PayPal, but a lot of people use Pirate Ship, but you will save yourself so much time if you start to do your own shipping at home. So if you're not doing that yet, definitely do it. Another thing, this isn't really recognition, but it's kind of more of just connection and communication. But this is just a file full of different types of cards: happy birthday, anniversary, thinking of you, encouragement. Whereas if I would see something going on with somebody in my downline or my team, like for instance, I had a director, or she's not a director, sorry, somebody in my downline working towards director, but her dad passed away last week. So I was just easily able to grab out a sympathy card and fill that out and get that to her. So just being prepared is such a big part of staying organized and on top of things. Let me see, did postcards, I do the postcards like Karen. I do group top PRV as well as team top PRV. As far as directors, I will just try to send just a gift of appreciation. Thank you. I appreciate you and all your hard work. And I try to, instead of doing those all at once, like 1 month I'll do first gen, the next month I'll do second gen, the next month I'll do third gen. So I just kind of rotate them. Let's see, messages. Every day I look in my team report and my downline report and look to see if anything's jumping out at me that somebody's doing exceptional out, and just send them a message. Just a simple message can really make somebody's day. So don't underestimate that. And I think that's really it. Just being prepared, have it in bulk. Oh, Etsy is another place. For promotions, a lot of times I'll find some pretty cool things. If you just get on Etsy and search like stars or, you know, things like that, things will pop up, and then you can buy them in bulk and then have them ready to go for promotions.
Perfect. That's wonderful. So we are a few minutes over, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, all of our panelists. You were amazing. I want to go to Andrea and Kelly and see if there were any specific questions that came up on our chat.
There is. Tracy's asking if we can repeat, I think it was Karen that was talking, repeat the recognition for TWV and how many, and is that group or team?
So I do top 5 for team and I do top 25 for group. But of course you're gonna wanna look at your numbers and how many you have and make adjustments to what's appropriate for you. Can I add one other thing? And this is a little off topic, but I think it's really important that, you know, we're throwing all these ideas at you. Like Eileen said in the beginning, you don't have to implement them all. If one thing speaks to you, but the other thing I want you to think about is you should spend your time on things only you can do. And while I'm not advocating, everyone's at a different place in your business, I'm not saying go hire an assistant. But there are people in your life who you probably could get to help you with some of these things. And a lot of these systems that we're sharing could be done by anyone if you would take the time and write them down or explain them once. And so make sure you are spending your time on the things that only you can do. And if you can task any of these things out, trade some Scentsy if you want, pay a teenager. You know, child labor is fantastic, you know, with their permission and blessing. But make sure that you are spending your time on, you know, on things that only you can do as well.
Grandkids are down there labeling as we speak.
Yep.
They do work for money though.
Yep.
And that doesn't go just for your Scentsy business stuff. I made a decision a long time ago when I started my business to hire out house cleaning. It's something I hate to do, and I don't want to spend 4 hours cleaning my house. So by paying someone to clean my house, that's 4 hours that I can either use for my Scentsy business so that I'm working intentionally when my family's not around, and then that's 4 hours that I can be intentional with my family. So choose stuff you don't like to do and delegate it. And work towards how much wax do I need to sell to have someone do it for me. My husband, we have a very small yard, but my husband hates to mow it. I'm like, okay, that's 1 6-pack a week that I need to sell to pay someone in the neighborhood to mow it for us. So think about it that way.
That's perfect. Did we have any other questions?
No, that was it.
That was it.
Okay, well, fantastic. So I'm just going to reiterate that we didn't want to overwhelm you. We just wanted to kind of brainstorm with you guys, kind of give you ideas of what other leaders, other superstar directors are doing. And so we wanted to end this call by giving you guys an action item, and that is to just choose one system to implement in your business that might really be impactful. So we appreciate all of you joining us. We will once again be meeting next Monday at, well, for me it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, but make sure you, I think that would be noon Central time. So figure out your time zones. Please, we would love for this to grow. So invite your leaders on this call as well. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.